Welcome back. Now it's time to add the edit feature and the delete feature. So we can create a new list, but how about deleting or editing it? Well, that's what we will look at in this video. So we will need to add those two buttons or give those two buttons functionality. Okay, so this button is the edit text button. Let's look at how it's actually called. So in item task, we can see it's this one here, and it has the name IB edit list name. And then the other one is the IB delete list. So we need to add on-click listeners to those in the task list items adapter, where we are in the on-bind view holder. Okay, so here we gave all of those item views some on-click listeners already, but now we need to add another one, which will be holder.itemView.IB edit underscore list name. And that should get an on-click listener. And now inside of that on-click listener, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my item view et edit task list name the text that we get from model.name. Or actually it was title, right? Model.title. So the idea is that this edit text here, which will then be displayed, so this whole card view will be displayed, and we can now edit the task list name. So as you can see, we have the one where we create a new task, then we have the one that we open up when we edit the task. So we want to use all of those different cases. So here we just give it the name that we currently had. So we populate it into this edit text field. And then we can go ahead and get the LL title view visibility to visible or view.gone. So we want to make it invisible or make it disappear completely. And then we set the CV edit task list name to be visible. So view dot visible. Then we have something very similar to what we had with IB close list name. So if we look at it again, we see that this one here also has this button, which is IB close editable. Okay, so now we're displaying this linear view, layout, which also contains this button here, this IB close editable. And that's the one that we want to also give some functionality. So if we click that, we cancel the process, right? And that is very similar to what we've done here. So basically, let's just copy that code here and put it underneath here. So the only difference is it's not IB close view, but or close list name, but it's IB close editable view. And what we do here is we say item view LL title view should now be visible, and the CV edit task should now be gone. Okay, so the one that we just prepared, or we just set the text to, we now want to make it invisible. So once we canceled it, once we pressed on this cancel button, well, we don't see it in here, we only see it here so far, but once we click on that button. Okay, and now we can actually give the done editing button, which is this one here, which is IB done edit list name. We want to give it the functionality to actually make changes, so to update something. So here again, holder item view IB done list name, or actually it's done edit list name, this one here, done edit list name, set on click listener. And here we need to add some code first. So to do done editing, implementing, or implement. Okay, not a good sentence, but it's clear what has to be done. So in order to do that, I will go to the task list activity, because here we need to create a new function which allows us not to only create a task list, but actually to update it as well. So fun update task list. We need to know at which position we need to update something. We need to know the current list name, and we need to know the task that we want to update. Okay, so when we want to update something, we need to know all of these things. So position, which is an integer, then the list name, which is a string, and then the model, which is a task. Okay, so we need all of those in order to then make changes. So let's first of all get the task based on the list name and the model dot created by. Okay, so we need to create a task and we need to know who created it. Then we go to our board details and check out the task list, and it's actually M board details here. We check out the task list at the position given. Okay, and this will be our task here. So the task that we just created here will be the task at this task list position, and then we can remove the old one. So task list, remove at M board details dot task list dot size -1. Let's then show the progress dialog and do the same thing as we've done here. So basically the same thing as we have created the board. So first show the progress dialog, and then we pass in or call this add update task list, and we pass in the M board details. So you can see add and update task list. So this function does both. Okay, at this point we can go back and we can implement that code here. So what we need is the list name, and we get that from holder item view, and it's not the yodeler, but it's the holder item view dot edit or et edit text edit task list name dot text to string. Okay, so we get it from the item view, from this one here, this element here. And we need to check, is it empty or not? So we do the same thing as we've done here, by the way. So you can see done list name set on click listener. It's pretty much the same thing that we do now. So we can check, is the list name not empty? If it's not empty, then don't create a task, but update the task with the position and the list name. And of course, we also need to pass in the model, which is our model that we created at the very beginning of this on-bind view holder. So here, file model list position. So you see, we get the position from the on-bind view holder, we get the model based on the position, and now we can pass those things here when updating the task list. Okay, so we needed the position, we needed the model, and of course we also need the list name, but we get that from the edit text that we use here. Okay, and otherwise we say please enter a list name. Okay, so that is if we want to edit something. Let's actually give it a try before we implement the delete functionality, which will be very similar, but still slightly different. So let's test that first. Okay, so board with image. Here, let's edit this. Let's call it list12. And you can see the change was made. Let's go back and see if the change is persisting. We can see the change is still there. Now let's change this list here. List pay OSFD, and that worked as well. All right, so editing seems to work. Now let's look at deleting. Therefore, we need to go back to our task list, because here we created the create task list, the update task list, and now the delete task list. So fun delete task list, and here we use position int, so we need to know at which position we want to delete something, and we just go ahead and say import details task list remove at position. And now we also need to make sure that the mBoard details task list remove at mBoard, actually this line here, and let's just run all of those. So the same thing, we run this code, then we show the progress dialog again, and we call the update task list with the updated mBoard details. So just update the whole board with this delete task list. So a very similar function to the update task list, but still one minor change. So here we only remove it. Okay, and now we can go back here and we can now do the delete process, which can be easily achieved. But before we do that, I want to just add a little code part in here. Let me show you. Okay, so I'm pasting this in here because it's just an alert dialog and it's not really necessary, and actually I need to put it outside here. So this is something that you can do, but you don't have to. So I want to display an alert dialog for delete list. So when I delete a list, I need to get the position and the title, and then I want to use the alert dialog builder in order to create an alert. Okay, so the user should get an alert dialog. The message should be, are you sure you want to delete? And then the title. Then I set this icon to be this danger icon. I give the positive button the text yes. And then if I say let's go, then I'm gonna call delete task list, which is the function that we get from the task list itself, which we just created, right? So this function here. And then I have the negative button. So if that is the case, the dialog interface will just dismiss. So we will just get rid of the alert dialog. And then we of course need to create that alert dialog. We make it cancelable and we show the alert dialog. Okay, so this is something that we have done multiple times. So I think it's okay that I just pasted the code in here. If you want to know more about that, check out the videos on alert dialogs that we have. We have a full demo here in this course. Okay, so then we can now implement the actual code for deleting something. And which button shall we call for this? Well, let's look at that. We can see we have this delete button here that is used, and the delete button has the name IB delete list. So let's implement that. So if the holder.itemView .ib delete list set on click listener is called, then I want to call alert dialog for delete list at the position and the model dot title. All right. And then inside of this alert dialog, we do the actual deleting, right? So we call this delete task list, which then calls this task list activity function, which is delete task list, which then in turn deletes it, right? Removes it at the position and then updates the entry. So now let's test this again and see if we can actually delete lists now as well. So there we are, Projet Manage. And let's wait for the boards to load. There we are, board with image. Let's delete this one. Are you sure you want to delete list 1, 2? Yes. And it's gone. It's like the South Park episode. And it's gone. So now let's do it again. Alert. Bam. All are gone. And we can see only a list is there. Okay, so now you see how you can edit and delete lists, how you can add new lists, but what's even more important, of course, is to have cards here as well. So here, let's see how we can add cards to this. And we will still have a bunch of cool new features in the next few videos, so be prepared. Thanks a lot for still being with me. See you in the next one.